Last week at Lucas Oil Raceway, we saw Jakob Rafas strike back in his championship battle with Luke Kraus with a come from the back of the pack win. Will Jakob continue on his momentum, or will we see our defending double champion Luke Kraus extend his championship lead and put the pressure back on the young but talented Norwegian? Hello and good evening. I'm your host, Ian Fisher. Alongside me is Victor Vallee running the boards, and we thank you for joining us here on the Automotive Sports Network, home of NASA Rallycross. Crandon International Raceway is the home of our first of two enduro rounds on our truck tracks. This is round 7 of our 2022 Season A Championship and the 213th round overall. Our Lights to Flag broadcast this evening is presented by Fisher Disc Golf. Use code RALLY for 15% off at checkout, and Bolt Jet Charters. Well, Victor, we've been through a lot of Rallycross tracks already so far. We've been from Brands Hatch all the way to Lucas Oil last week, and now we're on Crandon International Raceway, and every athletic competition has its holy grail location, so to speak, a place that is so special that it defines an entire sport. They're magic places that organically emerge time, place, and history, and locations often imitated but certainly not duplicated. Places like Lambeau Field, Indianapolis Motor Speedway come to mind, but for off-road racing, Victor, that place is the Crandon International Raceway. Just 100 miles north of Green Bay, Wisconsin, and the scenic Northwoods of Wisconsin lies this track, and for 50 years, Crandon International Raceway has provided 3 generations of fans with dirt-throwing, high-intensity action, and history-making performances. But, Victor, I gotta ask you, for our Rallycross drivers tonight, this isn't a Rallycross track. This is a whole different challenge for them. What do you expect out of our drivers tonight as they tackle the tough Crandon Raceway?
Yeah, this is definitely not your typical Rallycross track. It's elbows out, door-to-door racing, up and down, left and right, and it is made for trucks. It's not made for these Rallycross cars, so these jumps are huge, and these guys are going to take advantage of that. They're going to be flying through the air, and they're going to be elbows out, as I said before. This is going to be some amazing racing, especially for the shorter of the 2 layouts here at Crandon.
And that brings up a very good point, Victor. We are on the short layout, which is just over a mile here in Crandon, Wisconsin. 100% dirt surface, so we're not going to be switching from the dirt to the asphalt back to the dirt, so a really tough test for these drivers. Also very unique to these truck tracks, no joker laps. Usually we're used to seeing a joker lap that you can use to utilize your strategy, but not today, Victor. If you're going to make the passes on the racetrack, it's going to have to be made on the track. You can't rely on that joker strategy, and I think that's going to lead to some very interesting battles.
Yeah, exactly, and I think that's one of the most important things about these enduro rounds is there are no jokers, so it's completely 100% your pace, no strategy. Whoever's the fastest guy is probably going to win the race, and whoever survives the land rush start as well is going to survive and win these races, because it is so important to make a good start in any kind of Rallycross, but especially here with the unique layout that we do have at Crandon.
Yeah, and Rallycross cars, of course, are used to starting on a standing start. That's nothing new to us, but talk a little bit about that land rush start, Victor. What's so unique about it here at Crandon? It's not like any other first run we see going any other turn. This is a long stretch that they're going to come down for this land rush start.
Yeah, you're exactly right on that. It is a land rush start, and with that said, it is a huge stretch of just open field, and I think we're going to start 5-6 wide for the start of every single heat and feature event tonight that we see. So it's going to be basically an even playing field for these guys, at least the top 5. Instead of having a staggered start, everybody is at the same exact point. So it really does not matter where you seed in these events as long as you're on that front row. And even if you are on the front row, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to make it out alive, because at the end of the day, the only way you're going to make it out alive is if you don't have any kind of contact. As I think we see one of our guys here, I think that's Savian Raxer. He's actually heading up that way, so I don't know if he's tuned in or not, but definitely want to thank him for tuning in, and if he is. And so now we can see exactly what we're talking about with that land rush start, as Raxer's going to go ahead and probably get his mock start in here.
Yeah, that's really smart to do. If you finished your qualifying run, which I believe Savion already has, then yeah, why not go ahead and give that land rush start a try as we see us onboard here. Lots of bumps over the grass, and then everybody's going to dive down in the turn 1 here. And then there's going to be a quick jump right away as we see Savion go over it now. And so it's going to be a really tough test for all of our drivers to jockey for position because it's very important to be up front early in these races. But also, you can't be too aggressive and take yourself out there.
Exactly right, and we see that time and time again here where somebody up front, someone who's possibly a favorite at winning this event, does not get the land rush start right and gets themselves taken out, or gets taken out by somebody behind them trying to get too much and getting too greedy on the start. And it is absolutely paramount, as I said before, to get that land rush perfect. So bumpy, and these cars, they take the jumps decently well, I'll have to say. For a lack of better way to put it, they do take the bumps pretty well, but not as well as you would think for a Rallycross type of car.
Yeah, very easy to get the car upsettled and upset. Now, we are going into our heat races now. 6 laps for our heat races. Our 2 top finishers advance to the final. We have Magnus Okenhog here. No surprise seeing him at the start. Bodie Cryer, another one. Very, very, very excited to see him tonight. He is a truck track master. Tyler Campbell, Matt Kingsbury, Jamison Huffman, Cale Pellegrini, Alexandra Betty, Sean Perot, Marcos Palacio, and Matthew Linde wrap out your heat grid for Heat 1. Our drivers appear to be getting the ready to race signal right now, and so we'll be off for 6 laps in this heat race. Remember, no jokers. Our Lights the Flag coverage is brought to you by Fisher Disc Golf and Bolt Jet as we wait for these drivers to grid up and take the green lights here.
Still waiting for, I believe just 2 drivers. That's going to be Cryer and Lind. Just taking a little bit of time to get ready to go as we look at the starting grid. Of course, again, Okenhog, fastest qualifier tonight. He's been strong every time we come to Crandon, so we're about to get ready to go.
These cars are getting spooled up. We're about to be green here for our first heat race at the Crandon International Raceway, and these cars are off. Off into the land rush start they go. Let's see if everybody can get here cleanly. Already a little bit of contact, looks like, between Cryer there. They're going to hold on to it. He's going to be going to the outside here, trying to get some momentum around the outside lane. Right now, Okenhog gets away to the early lead, and that's very important, as we mentioned earlier, in these heat races. Only the top 2 are going to transfer through. So very important you get yourself out to that early lead right away and get all those positions that you can.
You're absolutely right. As we see Matt Kingsbury, he's been so good on these starts, and he took advantage of Bodie Cryer getting it just a little bit wrong on that land rush start. As we see Cryer actually go around almost. Got kind of pinched off there by Jamison Huffman. He's making his first start in the NASA Rallycross Series tonight.
Yeah, good to see Kingsbury up towards the front. It's been a rough season for him, getting bumped around a little bit as we see the rest of our drivers jockey for position here in Calamity Corner. There's 2 named corners here. It looks like a Betty's going to be around there. That's going to be tough for the Fishport Fiesta team. Looking to get a good run here, but that's not the way you want to start, Victor.
No, absolutely not. Just got collected there. I think he just kind of clipped the inside wall, maybe clipped in our car, spun it around, but no harm, no foul. He's going to be able to continue on. And I think Palacio also was involved in an accident on the start, so both of those guys down the order. That's going to be a tough blow to their chances in the Privateer Championship.
Yeah. Friendly fire there, maybe, Victor. So you hate to see that on the racetrack as these cars once again come around Calamity Corner. We got 2 named corners here at Crandon. They're very, very popular. We got Calamity Corner here, and then we have the gravel pit. That's going to be our 2 hair pits. I imagine we'll see a lot of action around those 2 corners tonight, Victor, as we see the rest of our drivers. Now, coming up and over the jump here into lap 3 of our first heat race with Okenhog, Kingsbury, Huffman, your top 3, Okenhog and Kingsbury now holding on to the transfer spot.
Yeah, Okenhog once again out in away from the field. He has no pressure from behind. Kingsbury's going to be the one who has the pressure, and even then it's not too much pressure from Huffman right there. The biggest battle on track right now has to be, I believe, between Huffman and Campbell and Cryer here, all trying to catch up to Kingsbury to get into that transfer position.
Yeah, Bodie Cryer digging really hard to try to get back towards the front after that unfortunate contact he had in the land rush start. Bodie Cryer is we've talked about it before, but he had that great third place finish last week at Lucas Oil, really trying to turn that momentum into a late season rush here, try to get as many positions as he can in our championship battle. So we're on board now with Tyler Campbell. It looks like, I believe that's was Pellegrini sneaking in front of him there.
Yeah, that was actually
Huffman. Contact. Oh, Huffman, yeah, that was Huffman there.
And as they make contact, and there goes Campbell way off to the left side there, down towards where pit road is, but he somehow recovers here. And it looks like Cryer's going to sneak right in between these two as Campbell gets a huge run on the corner. And I was actually really impressed to see that great recovery for Campbell there.
Yeah, there's a couple of different ways to take that turn into the gravel pit. You can shoot it out wide and try to get the momentum off the corner, or you can get it tight and try to make the shortest way around. And we saw that time that it actually worked out for Campbell there. He's able to take the position back from Cryer. It's a continuing battle between these two drivers. And even though there may not be in a transfer spot right now, Victor, this is still an important race because this determines your position in the LCQ, and that's going to be your last chance to make our feature race. So these drivers still want to battle hard, even though they know there's not a transfer position at stake.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It does determine the seeding for the semifinal, and while the seeding for the semifinal and feature isn't really as important as it would be adding Rallycross circuit, a permanent Rallycross circuit, it's still quite important to make sure you are on the right side of the road here. I believe the first qualifier is lines up on the inside of the track, which is absolutely important, as you saw Oakenhog be able to launch and get away from all of that chaos behind them.
Yeah, and you mentioned being on the inside of turn 1 is very important, and Oakenhog have the advantage of a little bit of contact behind him, able to get to that lead position. But sometimes in Rallycross, and here at these truck tracks, the pole position may not be exactly the best position. We saw that a little bit at Charlotte too as well. Our top 1 and 2 positions were getting a little bit pinched off by the outside line. Maybe it's a little bit better of a line going into turn 1 from the outside, but still, I don't think any of our drivers are thinking that. I think they just want to get to the front and get as far as we can as we come to the white flag here. Oakenhog, Kingsbury, still your transfer. Huffman and Cryer are battling now. That was an onboard camera we saw from Huffman's car there with Cody Cryer right on his tail.
Yeah, and it looks like the two transfer positions of Oakenhog and Kingsbury are basically settled at this point. But now it comes down to this third position right here with Cryer trying to claw back as much as he can before the semifinal, which he definitely will be in if he decides to take part in it, which I wouldn't doubt it one bit that he would.
And this race isn't over yet between Cryer and Huffman. This is going to be tight right down to the wire. Bodie Cryer trying to get to the inside there. Maybe get a little of the door in there. You know, this is Rallycross. Doors are acceptable. Straight hooking somebody. I think you're going to have a problem with that. But if you let someone get to your door, Victor, I don't think you'd be too upset if they push you out of the way for a position.
Yeah, absolutely. It sells out Rallycross racing, especially here at Crandon, as we see everybody cross the line. It's just always going to be elbows out, and I think that's why a lot of these guys who typically run trucks are so good in Rallycross racing, especially at these tracks. It's because of how physical this racing can get.
Physical racing indeed. Oakenhog, Kingsbury, Huffman, Cryer, and Campbell going to be your top 5 in the heat race. Going down the rest of the grid, we have Cale Pellegrini, Matthew Lindy, Alexander Abetti, Marcus Palacio, and Sean Perot is going to be our last finisher in Heat 1. As we take a quick break here, thanks again to Fisher Disc Golf and Bolt Jet for sponsoring today's action. We'll take a look at the starting grid for Heat 2. Our championship points leader, Luke Kraus, is going to sit on the pole with his fiercely forward teammate, Josh Klog, beside him. Brandon Lambert, who's having a surprisingly good season, is going to line up P3, Savion Ragster. Tom Grady, a newcomer to the series. Brock Quinn, Ryan Mowry, James Watson, Adrian Irvin, and Francois Martel. Interesting to see Francois Martel at the bottom of a grid here, Victor. I wonder what's going on there.
Yeah, as I say, I don't know if he took a time in qualifying. Does not look like he did. Him and Victor Aldrich both did not take a time.
And once again, our Heat 2 race is going to be 6 laps with the top 2 finishers advancing to the final. Looks like our drivers are ready to race him. Green flag for Heat race number 2. We watch the land rush start, diving into turn 1 again. We'll see if this one's a little bit more cleaner. We'll see if we'll have a little bit more fireworks as well, as we see our championship points leader, Luke Kraus, getting out to an early lead here. Trying to set the tone early, but he goes off a little bit there. We've had a little bit of contact later out in the pack there. I don't know if that's going to be a penalty for Kraus, but regardless, it gives the lead of Josh Klog there, Victor. And we see more cars going around. That's the 39 machine of James Watson. Looks like he's having a little bit of trouble. And Now, the lead between the two fiercely forward teammates for the transfer position, Josh Clogg and Luke Kraus.
Yeah, Josh Clogg was able to take advantage of Luke Kraus's mistake there. Kind of just took the jump a little bit wrong, and it shot him out to the left there. But what is going to be fine unless it looks like Savion Raxter is going to give him a little bit of an elbow there, and he's going to try to take that transfer position away from your points leader.
Looks like it was Raxter trying to get in the middle there, but that might have actually helped Luke Kraus a little bit. Get the rear end rotated, get the tires pointed straight, and drive away there. It looks like he did a little bit, Victor.
Yeah, absolutely driving away now is Luke Kraus, or at least he wants to drive away. But Savion Raxter not going to let that happen so easy as we see these two battle for the transfer position.
Yeah, and Savion Raxter, as we know, is maybe not one of these world championship caliber drivers that we see, looking at like Josh Clogg or Luke Kraus, but he is no slow driver whatsoever, and he has given Luke Kraus all of a battle for this last transfer spot here.
Yeah, and he's notoriously one of the most aggressive drivers in the field, week in and week out. You know he's going to give it his all to try to get in to this transfer position, if he can have his way, of course, as we go on board with that Volkswagen, which, again, I think we mentioned this before we went live. The Subaru is definitely the car of choice here, so what Raxter is doing is nothing short of impressive.
Yeah, I would say the Subarus do have a slight bit of advantage. That's pretty much anywhere you go. The Subarus are going to be the cars to watch for. But something to think about when you look at these other cars with the shorter wheelbases, they're a little bit more maneuverable. And maneuverability is key, especially on these truck tracks. These tracks look very, very wide, but you got to get the car rotated quite a bit, and quite a bit more than what these drivers are used to. And with all-wheel drive on these cars, the car really wants to not turn very well for you, Victor. And it's very tough to drive around this track, especially when you're just sliding. It's very hard to get traction.
You're absolutely right, and you can see that with Crandon Lambert, he's got that thing yawed out in that Ford Fiesta he's got right there, and he's trying to track down Ryan Mallory, who's having a great run in 4th position. But these things, it's incredibly difficult to get them to the yaw, which you saw Lambert have there, because it's so much grip and so much power. But you have to have it turn. It's just completely, the car just wants to go straight half the time. So what these guys are doing is pretty impressive.
Right, as we watch this battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th here between Mallory, Lambert, and Irvin, coming out of the gravel pit into Calamity Corner. All these drivers so far have been a pretty clean race. We had a little bit of contact in the first lap, but so far keeping it clean. And that battle continues for our 2nd and 3rd spot between Raxter and Kraus. But it looks like, looking just at the relative screen, it looks like Raxter has lost a little bit of time to Kraus. I don't know if we maybe catch a replay of that, Victor. Maybe he ran into some trouble there, or maybe Luke Kraus has decided enough is enough. It's time to go, and he's pulling away now. Yeah,
I think he's gained about 4/10 each lap. Savion Raxter has been consistently running in the 46.2s, while Luke Kraus put up one of his best laps the last lap around at a 45.8. So he's actually tracking down his teammate for the lead right now, but I don't think he'll press the issue with his teammate, and I think he's just going to live to fight another day.
Yeah, I think our two fiercely forward drivers will be very happy with both of their cars making it to the feature race, not having to mess with the LCQ. It's always nice to be able to do that, Victor, take a rest between races and really regroup, come back hard for that feature races. Because, yeah, it looks like Luke and Josh are the only ones in this heat race that are able to get a 45-second lap time, and that's why we see him out ahead of our pack coming to the white flag here in our 2nd race.
Yeah, and that's great for Josh Clogg, because he's had absolutely no luck in the last couple heat races in these in NASCAR Rallycross competition. I know he said a couple weeks ago on Discord that he thought the number 3 was cursed, and maybe it is, but no curse tonight for Josh Clogg as he's out and about in front of his teammate here. And actually, I think he had a little bit of good luck on his side here to at least get into a transfer position and stay in a transfer position with his teammate making a small mistake.
Yeah, it looks like Clogg and Kraus are going to be our 2 transfers here from our 2nd heat race. And this is very important for Luke Kraus, too, is going for a 3rd championship here in NASCAR Rallycross in our 2022 A season. He's, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Victor, I don't think Jakob Rafas showed up today. So this is a really, really important race for Luke Kraus to be able to really put a point gap between him and Jakob Rafas, because it seems like any race that he shows up to, he wins, Victor.
Yeah, absolutely. Jakob Rafos is so dominant as we see Quag and Kraus cross the line 1-2 for fiercely forward in heat number 2. But it's just so good. Rafos he's just incredibly quick, and I know Luke Kraus always tries to put up a good fight, but it seems like Jakob seems to get the better of the entire field week in and week out when he does show up.
Yeah. So our final top 5 here for our second heat race is going to be Josh Clog, then Luke Kraus, as we're waiting on the rest of the grid here. And while we're waiting on that, I know we're talking about this championship lead between Kraus and Rafos, but the gap between 3rd, 4th, and 5th, Victor, only 6 points, as we see here. Robbie the Real is going to be starting on the pole. He's actually 3rd in our points right now, followed by Cody Crossgrove in that Subaru. Ray Kingsbury going to roll off in 3rd. Justin Robichaud, our sportsman point leader, is in 4th. Schofield, 5th. Joshua Mertz, who is going to be racing today and is the reason why I'm in the commentary. He's 6th for a heat. And away we go as a KES machine of Robbie the Real running to the inside line, trying to get past these cars and into that position where he can make that turn into turn 1. But a little bit of calamity as we go through here. It looks like the Real's going to get out, but he is on the outside and on the inside from there. Here's to be Cody Crossgrove, which Cody Crossgrove, give a shout to him. He's one of our sportsman car champions.
We got Oast over, and we got a huge pile up. We got cars up and over. I think one of them, Ray was involved in it. Oh my goodness, everybody's involved.
And it seems like not a round goes by where we don't see a Kingsbury in an incident this season, Victor.
Yeah, unfortunate for Ray. He really had nothing to do with that incident there, as we see Russell Pearson, who is one of the cars who was barrel rolling at one point, and he's kind of recovered to get going here now. But really unfortunate for those guys, as it looks like it's going to be all Robbie the Real out front here with Crossgrove trying to track him down.
Yeah, and I was saying before we saw that contact there, really give a shout to Cody Crossgrove this season. He is a sports car winner over our sports car championship for NASA Sports Cars, but coming over here to the Rallycross circuit, took him a few seasons to get his legs under him, but now look at him here, chasing down Robbie the Real for that transfer win, or I'm sorry, for that heat race win. He's in the transfer spot right now.
Yeah, I would have to say, the most improved driver this season alone. By far, he's just been so good and so consistent this year. While he hasn't made it to the feature every single week, he's been in contention to make it to the feature each week, which is important to do, because you never know when you might have a situation like you see tonight, where some of the guys who typically make it into the features run into some issues, and you can capitalize upon it like you see him doing tonight.
Yeah, Crossgrove trying to chase down the rail, looking in his mirror though, and seeing this sometimes three-way battle for 3rd between Aldrich Schofield and our fearless leader Joshua Mertz in the ASN Cintas machine here, coming around the corner, coming into this big jump here. And I forgot to touch on it earlier, Victor, but damage is off for our drivers this evening, and that is not an invitation for our drivers to beat and bang on each other. The reason behind that is to just keep these engines from blowing on these huge jumps that they're taking.
Yeah, exactly. The iRacing damage model isn't exactly made to allow for these cars to be taking this kind of damage when it comes to the truck jumps. The cars just cannot handle it in the sim as it stands right now. Maybe in the future they might update it, fix it, make it a little bit better, but right now, I say definitely not going to be capable of handling these jumps.
Well, and as you know, Victor, Rallycross racing isn't really something that happens at Crandon International Speedway.
Exactly.
It's more known for our Pro 2, Pro 4 trucks, and we're just happy that they let us have the keys to the gate, or I don't know if they let us have the keys to the gate, but we got them somehow, as we see a move by Joshua Mertz here toward Schofield. It's going to get him by into that 4th spot. Still not good enough for a transfer position, but like I said earlier, these drivers are still fighting for their spot in the LCQ. Their starting position, very important. It's going to be very important if they want to get back into the conversation for being in our feature race tonight, Victor.
You're exactly right. And talking about taking the keys to the gate, Josh decided, I don't need the keys to the gate. I'm going to barge my way right through on David Schofield there, as you just mentioned. So he's trying to make his way to at least P3 in this one, as he's trying to track down Victor Aldrich, who's right there in front of him.
And there's a very interesting dynamic, though, when you do bump somebody like that. I don't know of any driver that I've ever met that really appreciates being bumped out of the way. It's something that you have to understand and accept as part of the sport, but gets you a little hot under the helmet there. So if you get Schofield back to Mertz here, we might see a little bit of tap back. And
there it is.
As I'm talking about it, there it is. The same exact spot. Schofield makes the tap on Mertz. Mertz got a little bit wide there, takes back P4.
Exactly, elbows out racing. This is like it used to be, and Mertz is going to give it to him back. These guys are just going at it. They're going to nail each other a little bit more. No.
Oh.
There goes Schofield around.
Yeah, you hate to see that. You love the bumping back and forth, but you just hate to see when another driver gets taken out. And I don't think that was intentional at all by Mertz. I think that's just two guys racing hard and getting together. But unfortunately, Schofield took the bad end of that. Going to drop him back down to 7th with our sportsman point leader there, Robichaux, chasing hard on his tail. Back to the front of the pack, Larill still driving away in lap 5 here. Cosgrove a 1.5 seconds behind him. I don't think he's going to get to him, but looking back through the rest of the pack, Aldrich now with a 4-second gap back to the 3rd place car. Really Cosgrove and Larill's transfer spots to lose, Victor.
Yeah, absolutely. The best battle on track probably has to be either this battle between Aldrich and Mertz or the one between teammates here, Ray Kingsbury and Marwan Mafta. Kingsbury finally clearing Mafta after I think the entire race is trying to get by Marwan, the Egyptian who's racing with us, who's I believe was the first winner in iRacing NASA Rallycross competition. So it's been an incredible ride for these guys, and really nice to see a lot of these guys stick around.
Yeah, a lot of the names you see on the NASA Rallycross Championship come back and back as we see Robbie Larill take the checkered flag for our 3rd heat race. Cosgrove is going to get our 2nd position as we watch the rest of the cars come across the line here. But yeah, it's really awesome to see guys come back year after year, especially with our championship leader coming back for a 3-peat. Really awesome to see guys coming back and just trying to improve themselves season after season.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the most important thing for these guys, is just trying to improve a little bit each year. You may not be the champion, but I think a lot of these guys understand that there's a someone has to run last, someone has to run first, and it can't always be you.
No, it can't always be you, and I believe that's the end of our heat races there, Victor. So we're going to be moving on to our semifinals, our LCQ. Our first semifinal here, of course, 8 laps for these semifinals, and our top 3 drivers will advance. We've got Huffman, Aldrich, Mowry, Campbell, Kingsbury, Quinn, Lindy, Robichaux, our sportsman point leader, Martel, Palacio, Ost, and James Watson ready to go here for our first semifinal. 8 laps, like I said, our top 3 will advance to the feature.
Ready to go here.
Possibly waiting for one more car to grid. You can kind of see when these guys are ready to go because you see some tires spinning, and there we go. We are green for our semifinal race here from the Crandon International Raceway. A lot more cars, so a lot more to go wrong here into our first turn, and we're already seeing it happen. It looks like Mowry's around. I believe that was also possibly Brock Quinn was around too in the Woven Planet Volkswagen Beetle. Looks like the rest of our competitors are going to get turned around.
Oh no!
More flipping.
Campbell up and over.
Campbell up and over. Good move by Kingsbury there to avoid him. It looks like
we got another car stuck over there. I think that's Robichaux, our privateer points leader sportsman. Excuse me. I'm so used to the old name. Robichaux probably not going to make it onto the feature. Actually squeezes Campbell into the wall there. Oh my goodness, what a messy start for these guys.
Yeah, just calamity in our first LCQ here. But you got to think, Victor, these guys know this is their last chance to make the feature race, and you got to make it happen off the start.
Yeah, and one of the guys who made it happen off the start, Christian Ost, he had some bad luck in his heat race, got himself turned around and upside down, but now back in it, and here he comes. He's in the lead with not Robichaux, but I think that's Jameson Huffman, who was 3rd in our first heat, in tow.
Yeah, it looks like our timing tower is having a little bit of problems here before they get back to the start-finish line for the first time. But because Quinn is not in the lead, we saw him earlier.
Yeah, he has parked the car for the night. He's back in the pits, so shows him ahead of everybody until everybody overtakes him here, which they now have.
So Huffman, Martel, Palacio are in transfer spots right now. Kingsbury, Linde, Aldrich, Robichaux, Campbell, Watson, Quinn, Mowry make out the rest of the field. And this is a battle.
Oh, we have Huffman around. Almost. What a save, Huffman, as he's going to go over the tires. Kind of jinxed him there.
It was a good save at first, but those tires, if you catch them, it's just gonna pop you up upside the car, and really hard to get off of that from there.
And this is the battle for the transfer spot right here.
I was just gonna say a battle for the transfer spot between Kingsbury and Palacio. Looks like Palacio is gonna try to cross him up again here.
Oh, he's gonna send it in. Door to door. These guys know what they're battling for.
Door to door, and it looks like Palacio is going to try to set himself up again for the inside line here. He's going to try to slide it in there on Kingsbury, but Kingsbury just able to keep ahead of him and get that drive off. And it's important if you're making contact with your car, Victor. You can't just sit there and keep making contact. You got to make your tap and you got to go, or else it's just going to keep slowing you down.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw that time and time again in a lot of other forms of racing where you start to get to battling and you lose focus of what you're actually battling for. And I don't think Ray Kingsbury forgot what he was battling for. He's experienced enough to know what he was going for. He wasn't just going for the third place transfer position. He was going to get third place and go after the car with Carmen Martel, or Francois Martel, excuse me, right there in front of him.
Yeah, as we now have a battle here between Martel and Oz for the lead of this semifinal. Now, you make it into the future either way if you make the top three, but points are still awarded in these races. So these guys are racing for points for the overall championship. So yeah, sure, you might be happy with your transfer spot, but I don't think Martel is happy with his transfer spot. I think he's doing all he can to catch Oz here and put the pass on him, get himself in the first place, and get those extra points.
Yeah, absolutely. And he sees the two cars behind him, the machines of Kingsbury and Palacio right there. He knows that they're on their way, and he cannot sit behind Oz for too long here. He's got to make money. And Oz is going to be trying to hang on as much as he can. As it looks like Campbell is falling out of the race as well. Unfortunate for him. So that's just another car out of the race now.
Yeah, well, a few casualties here in our first semifinal race, and Oz there, I want to give him a little shout out. It looks like going to they're actually able to save it back in front of Martel. That was very impressive.
Yeah, he's got the thing yawed out like we saw his teammate Brandon Lambert doing earlier. I think that strategy has worked out very well for him. That complex SimWorks machine really yawed out, and he's got that thing hooked up, coming off the corners, getting the runs off the corner.
Yeah, really, just the drive off is really what's been the difference for Oz so far. We're going to see...
Oh, here comes Martel.
That was a courtesy move by Martel there. You saw him get hard on the brakes. You saw the tires locked up. He could have made contact there, but that probably would have ended both drivers' race.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably would have taken Oz way out of the transfer position. As you see now, Martel to the inside. He's going to probably get the job done. Oh, contact over the jump. Somehow both of those guys hang on to it, but here comes Ray Kingsbury to take advantage of that.
Yeah, Kingsbury's just sitting there licking his chops saying, come on, boys, go ahead and take each other out, and I'll take that first place spot. But you got to imagine Marcos Palacio flying over the hill in the background there in the 83 too. He's going, please, guys, let me get that transfer spot. One of you take each other out. I don't care who, just one of you.
Yeah, he's just sitting back there. I think he's doing all he can, as we saw him, like, crossed up dead sideways over the jump. He's running that thing hard. He wants to be in this battle for the transfer spot. And I don't blame him one bit. This looks like a lot of fun. I want to be out there myself, too.
Yeah, and apparently Josh Mertz wanted to be out there himself as well, and that's why you and I are tonight, Victor. But as we continue to watch this three-way battle for the lead, we're going to be coming to the white flag this next time here, and Martel still has the slightest bit of a lead, but as I say that, Oz able to power around the outside, take the lead again, and get a little bit of space actually now between Martel. We'll see him come here again to the gravel pit. He's going to use that bump again to rotate the car. I've been watching Oz every single lap in that spot.
Contact between Martel and Kingsbury.
Yeah, a little bit of contact there for second and third between Kingsbury and Martel, but I've been watching Oz. He uses that bump to rotate the car, which is not as easy to do in the Fiesta as it is with these Subarus. The handbrake works a little bit differently in those two cars, so I think Oz has found a really good strategy there to rotate the back of his car and get that really good drive off the gravel pit. That's been the difference for him in this race as we come to the white flag.
Yeah, they've been able to figure out that Fiesta better than anybody else, it seems like, as we see Martel trying to take the fight back to Kingsbury. These two have been battling the entire race. Martel just trying to hang on to a transfer spot as well, I think, at the same time. And if I was Martel, I think I might just live to fight another day here and just take third place.
Yeah, I agree, but you got to imagine one very happy driver in all of this. He's had a rough time this season, had a lot of incidents happen to him, not been able to make a few feature races, but it looks like, barring any unforeseen circumstances, he's going to come across in P2 behind Christian Ost in our first semifinal race and earn himself a spot in the feature race. Martel will take the third transfer spot.
Best of the rest is going to be Palacio right there. Robichaux, our sportsman points leader, comes home P5 in the race. We'll see how that shakes everybody out. I believe overall that would put him, I'm not even going to try to tell you where he's going to put him overall.
Yeah, we don't have the stats master Josh in here to work all that out.
He knows that a lot better than we do. But best of the rest going to be Palacio, Robichaux, Aldrich, Lind, Campbell, Watson. DNFing is Quinn, and I believe a couple other guys there that I just couldn't make out.
Yeah, shout out to Justin Robichaux there. Got in contact early. It followed all the way back to the pack. Battled his way all the way back to 5th. Didn't make the feature, but he still got to feel pretty good about that, I would think, Victor.
Yeah, absolutely. I would take the points every day after being taken out like that. So
as
really
we take a look at our semifinal B grid, I want to remind you that our broadcast is brought to you by Fisher Disc Golf and Bolt Jet, Raxter, Cryer, Mertz, Irvin, Pellegrini, Mofta, Grady, Abetti, Schofield, Lambert, Rowe, and Peterson. We're going to round out our 12 drivers here in our second semifinal. And we are green in our second semifinal again for Crandon International Raceway. Semifinal B, Bodie Cryer out to the early lead. Brandon Lambert also running that outside line, but Abetti trying to make his way in there as well. Mertz coming in. Kind of hot.
Gosh, they have a huge pile up.
It's the big one. We're in it, boys. It's Talladega here at Crandon, and everyone's around. Let's see how this shakes out once everybody gets back going straight again. But, oh my goodness, as we see a car cartwheeling across the floor. And I think that was
Raxter.
I think Raxter went out of bounds. Yeah,
yes,
he's back in the pits. Calamity again off of turn 1 as we take another look here. And
just clipped. I think that was one of the Fiestas there. Just clipped him a little bit and up and over with Raxter. So Raxter and Josh Mertz are going to be out of this thing. So those two, take them out of the equation. But up front, it is all Brandon Lambert.
I was gonna say we're looking at all these incidents and everything like that. Look who's in the lead, Brandon Lambert in our sportsman division, having a really strong season so far. Already has one sportsman win to his name, holding off Bodie Cryer here in our second semifinal. And Bodie Cryer, if you can hold him off, you can feel very good about yourself, Victor, going into the feature race.
Yeah, absolutely, and I believe he's going to be one of the few guys transferring out that was in that sportsman race. I think Ost and Martel might also be in that sportsman race as well, along with Crossgrove and Aldrich, but it's a really good run here for Lambert to keep himself in the title hunt for the Sportsman Championship.
Yeah, and that's going to put him in a great standing position, too, for starting position in our feature race for that championship, points championship. Remember, we have two different winners in our feature race. We have the overall winner who finishes first, and then we have the sportsman winner as well. So you're going to get bonus points for every win you can going into the championship. And with Justin Robichaux winning last week at Lucas Oil, Lambert coming back here and having a really, really good run with Robichaux not making the feature is going to tighten that gap back up, Victor.
Absolutely will. As we see Davis Schofield here in the final transfer position. That car behind him is Savian Raxter. We saw him that is not for position at this point. I think Raxter's out there just to try to get as many points and positions as he can right now.
Well, you got sponsors on the car too as well. You got to make them happy and get them the camera time as we see the Woven Planet Beetle there flashing through our screen, and he's trying to battle now with Schofield. It looks like well, he's not battling with Schofield, but I'm sure he's still treating it as a battle. But Raxter one lap down now, just trying to make the best of this CQ.
Yeah, make the best of it and get as much experience as he can. The Woven Planet, Renovo, Volkswagen of Savian Raxter. He's going to send it in there very deep. I mean, I don't know how I would feel if I was David Schofield in this situation. I feel a little bit nervous. I might be inclined just to let Savion go here, and then that way I can just right behind him as we see a battle for the lead between Bodie Cryer and Brandon Lambert.
And Brandon Lambert's still hanging on here. Give a call to him. He's doing really, really good in this race. Really giving Bodie all he can handle. Bodie tries to cut back up the inside. Going to set himself up for the inside line here in this next corner. But I don't think he's there yet, and he is not. Brandon Lambert going to hold on to the lead. Lap 4 of 8, our second semifinal.
Yeah, we saw this with his teammate Christian Oss in that other, the sister Ford Fiesta to this one. He's just been able to hang on and do basically the same thing. It's just getting that drive off the corners. It's just incredible what they've been able to do. I think this is probably some similar setup, if I had to guess. So they really focus on the drive off here, and it is paying off for these guys.
Yeah, that's the advantage of having teammates out there, is you can test, compare setups, compare notes, and see what's working best for you. And obviously, it's working well for Brandon Lambert right now. And you watch the lines that Lambert and Cryer are taking. They're mirroring each other, basically, the exact same line throughout this racetrack, which is interesting to see because there's so many different ways you can attack Crandon Raceway that just watching these guys mirror each other turn after turn, and Cryer's not losing a step on him at all.
Yeah, the last lap around, I believe, Cody Cryer was 2/10 down on Brandon Lambert. So these guys are ebbing and flowing as we see David Schofield back there once again getting harassed by Savvy and Raxter. But Raxter's already picked up a couple positions with a couple of the casualties we've had in this race with, I believe, Grady, Irwin, and Abedi dropping out. So P8 now for Raxter. That's exactly why he's out there, is trying to pick up those points.
Yeah, and fortunately our leader of the championship and leader of the series, Joshua Mertz, is down and out. 5 laps down now. I think he's retired from the race.
Yeah, he has parked it.
And we're coming to 2 to go this time. And Lambert's still hanging on to the slightest of leads over Cryer as we see both of the drivers over the jump down into the gravel pit here. This is a spot where you got to get it right. It's so easy to go up the hill and leave the inside like Lambert did there. But going around the outside gives you that runoff like we see every single time there, Victor.
Yeah, he's just been using that outer line there just to get the car rotated and cook off the corner and get the run down the straightaway. And especially there, because that's one of the longest straights on the track, it's really important to get that run off. And it looks like that's what he's been doing. He's been keeping it pretty tidy in that hairpin we just saw him go through there. Seems like that's his strategy, is just to try to get the runs off where it matters the most, as he's actually pulled away from Cody Cryer. Picked up about 4/10 the last lap on.
Yeah, and it looks like Lambert able to put a little bit of position out here now. Cryer's still going to be able to make it into our feature race. Schofield looks like he's going to get that transfer position as well. Remember, our top 3 drivers are going to transfer into the feature from this second semifinal as we come to the white flag here for Brandon Lambert. And you got to imagine Brandon Lambert's ecstatic right now, holding off one of the best truck drivers in the world in Cody Cryer, and able to put a lead and a gap on him too.
Yeah, absolutely. Putting a gap on one of the best guys in trophy truck racing on iRacing. And this is his wheelhouse. This is Cody Cryer's wheelhouse. He's really good here. And he's in both trucks and Rallycross. He's actually, I believe, won a race here, or at least a podium here at Crandon at one point or another. So Cody Cryer, one of the best in the business at Crandon on iRacing. And Brandon Lambert's going to hang on to the lead here and hold him off for the win, as long as nothing happens here in the final corner.
It's something could still happen. It's very challenging and very tricky to go back around Calamity Corner to our start-finish line. But Brandon Lambert able to hold on, get our second semifinal win. Cody Cryer's going to come across in second. Schofield in third for our final transfer position. Peterson, Mofta, Pellegrini, Perot, Ragster, Grady, Irvin, Abedi, and our fearless leader, Joshua Mertz, just being a good guy and letting everybody else finish in front of him so they can have a good day, Victor. That's a really nice thing to see him do.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't thank him enough for doing that for us and coming out and just giving everybody just a little bit more points on the table today.
Well, Victor, we are through our heat races. We're through our semifinals. Our drivers are going to have a little bit of a brief warm-up going into our final race. And we have a very special guest in the ASN commentary booth tonight. Luke Kakert, part owner of Bolt Jet Charters, one of our sponsors in the booth tonight. Luke, thanks for taking a few seconds to come and talk to us.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you as well. So I want to touch off a little bit. Just explain to us a little bit, what does Bolt Jet do? And what are you guys trying to accomplish?
So we're global aviation services, our whole idea. My partner Eric and I came up with this idea that private travel was too expensive, so we're just a couple pilots, and we set out to go and change it for everybody. Try to make aircraft ownership cheap, and try to make it so that if you actually wanted to go on a private jet, we could try to find a way to make everybody afford it.
And it's and I mean, who wouldn't want to go on a private jet, Victor? I'm sure you would want to go on a private jet, but I want to talk a little bit about sim racing too, and maybe some of the parallels between what you guys do and sim racing as well. But what is it about sim racing that, you know, kind of stands out to Bolt Jet, and why do you guys want to get involved?
It's weird. I was thinking about this before I came in here. iRacing and sim racing is entirely a spectator sport for me. I've only watched. I don't even have an iRacing account. I've watched all my friends do it over the years, and it's a good way to get people together, get people doing stuff that they actually enjoy doing, and that's kind of our whole thing, right? We like to get people together. We're really big into technology, trying to advance technology in our field, and that's kind of what sim racing is, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, all the technology that allows all of us here at home to enjoy this hobby and, you know, live out maybe a dream that we have of being a race car driver. And again, we really appreciate everything that Bolt Jet does for this series. And let's talk about racing a little bit, Luke. Did you watch any of the race up to this point, or were you busy?
Yeah.
I know you're a busy guy. So what were your...
I've been watching the whole thing up to this point while multitasking for a busy day that I got tomorrow, and it's been good stuff so far.
And I know you don't pay attention, you know, every single week, but do you got somebody out there that caught your eye, or do you got a pick possibly for a future race?
I'm gonna hold it to myself. I've seen 3 races so far, and I feel like I need to watch at least one more before I actually dive in and pick somebody.
And that's a safe play. There's also the commentator's curse as well. I remember earlier in my career when I was asked to pick who was ever going to win in a feature race, and they ended up just wrecking right away. So good on you, Luke, for not invoking the commentator's curse there. So we appreciate that as well.
Of course, I will always say, any car sporting the Fisher Disc Golf Bolt Jet livery, I'll be rooting for the whole time, right?
And unfortunately, I don't think we were able to get any of your cars into the feature race tonight. Everybody got into a little bit of a, not confrontation, but there's always going to be bumping and banging here at Crandon Raceway, and much like there's bumps in the air while you're flying, Luke.
Oh, exactly.
Well, Luke, we really appreciate everything that you do here for Bolt Jet, or I'm sorry, for NASA, you know, with Bolt Jet sponsoring our season and everything like that. Anybody you want to give a shout out to, or anybody you want to say hi to back at home?
So I'd like to give a shout out to Eric. I know he's not watching; he's flying right now. And I think I got Tyler watching right now. But just in general, for Fitsport, you know, great partner. Glad to be here.
And where can people find you at, Luke, if they want to use your services?
BoltJetCharter.com, and you can find us on all major social media applications.
Well, Luke, thanks again for coming and spending some time with us during the warm-up, and best of luck to you, Eric, and Bolt Jet.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, of course. And Victor, we appreciate what Bolt Jet and Fisher Disc Golf do for us here on ASN TV in NASA Rallycross. Remember to use code RALLY for 15% off your purchase at Fisher Disc Golf. That's FisherDiscGolf.com. As the clock winds down here on our feature race, we might or we may not see our in-race perspective from Joshua Mertz tonight. Hasn't gotten back to us yet, but again, here on the ASN network, we have lights to flag coverage for our feature race coming up soon, and we're going to take a look at the grid for our feature race here from the Crandon International Raceway in just a second. Bodie Cryer is in the race. I know that for sure as we take a look at the jump record post here. Kind of a cool feature at Crandon Raceway, the jump record off the jump there. I wonder if any of our drivers are going to pass that tonight. We got Oakenhow, Clog, Relil, Kingsbury, Luke Kraus, our championship leader, Crossgrove, Ost, Lambert, Kingsbury, Bodie Cryer, Francois Martel, and David Schofield rounding out our 12-car field here as we wait for our drivers to grid on the starting grid here, the Steel It starting line at Crandon International Raceway for our feature race here, the 213th round, 7th round of the season for NASA Rallycross. Just looking on, looks like a couple more drivers are waiting for here, Victor.
Yeah, waiting on Claude, Kingsbury, and I think that's it. It's going to be both Kingsbury's in a feature for the first time this season, I do believe.
Yeah, and good to see both of those guys in the feature. That they've had a rough go of it so far, so I'm sure they'll both be ecstatic to get into our feature here as we are ready to race from Crandon International Raceway for our feature. Green flag for our feature race here as all of our cars dive down for the final time in the turn one, getting loose off the bumps there. Pretty clean so far, a few bumps, a few bang. It looks like the rail's going to get turned into the wall there. That's going to be hard to recover from, Victor, to say the least.
Yeah, unfortunate for them, but up front, Brandon Lambert trying to go through the middle, four wide for the lead. Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry, Bodie Cryer makes it stick, but
and
still,
here comes Josh Clogg, and Bodie Cryer gets knocked out of shape. Can he save it? Yes, he just barely hangs on. Josh Clogg to the lead as it looks like Oakenhog tries to push his way through up to second place, but Josh Clogg into 3. Where was that bad luck at this week? I don't see it at all.
Yeah, 3-car out here in our feature race. We still got a long ways to go. Still going to have 9 more laps to go.
Oh, we got Matt Kingsbury around.
Kingsbury into Kingsbury. Some brother-on-brother crime there.
Yeah,
looks like
Schofield's
going to get
yeah, it knocked Schofield around. When Kingsbury got sideways, it looks like Schofield had nowhere to go, and it kind of spun him around. But it looks like Kingsbury's able to continue on. Here's Kraus trying to battle his way through. He had a terrible start, and he's trying to make his way through and muscled Matt Kingsbury out. Matt's going to go for a diving move into the hairpin there, knock his brother out of the way. As they're making more cuts.
that was a shot back. You can tell for sure.
Yeah, and Crossgrove is going to be the unfortunate guy in all of that. He's going to get taken out of where he was. These two continue to battle side by side. No love lost between these two brothers here.
Yeah, Clogg's still in the lead, but that's something that I've noticed all night tonight, Victor. It's not necessarily the initial contact that causes all the issues. It's the secondary contact after the contact when the drivers are trying to save it. Do they make contact with another car? That's when we're starting to see cars go around, cars flipping and stuff like that. And unfortunately, that's what we saw between the two Kingsburys and Cosgrove there. And now we have Kingsbury, Crossgrove, 8th, 9th, and 10th, as we see Kingsbury again.
Yeah. Don't know if that, I feel like he was just trying to send it in there a little bit too deep. He's been really aggressive with that all night. Finally come back to bite him here.
Yeah, aggression and brotherly love is the story of our feature race so far, but these guys got to be careful. You got to watch it. You got to make sure you don't take anybody out, because that could be a disciplinary penalty for you going into the next round. And you know, with Kingsbury, both Kingsburys just in the points position they are right now, they cannot afford to get a penalty and fall further and further in this championship, as we see a battle here between Bodie Cryer and Brandon Lambert again. Almost a deja vu of our LCQ, if you will, Victor.
Yeah, exactly. As Cody Crossgrove finally makes his way around Crandon. I know Cody did the semi-final, so good for him to finally get around in there. As we see Ost and Kraus and Martel bumping in the back, mashing each other here, as they're just trying to jog your position. I know it's not intentional for these guys. Maybe for Matt and Ray, maybe a little bit intentional beat and bang, but these guys definitely not the case.
Oh yeah, the Kingsburys going after each other, that was totally intentional. You saw the wheels turn right there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not trying to, I think it's hilarious. I'm not trying to say anybody was wrong here, but it was unfortunate that Cosgrove was the bearer of bad news there and taken out by those two fighting here. And up towards the front of the pack, Josh Clogg driving away to a 2-second lead, but a tight battle for a second and third spot between Oakenhog and Cryer.
Yeah, and we're watching Oakenhog here. He's going to run really wide there. He's hit someone on the last lap of Josh Clogg. The last lap before that, they were basically right at the same time, the 45.725 Clogg, 45.728 for Oakenhog, but this lap, 2 tenths down for Oakenhog as he's trying to clog his way up to the lead battle.
Yeah, and going down further into our field, P4, Brandon Lambert, right now, our sportsman winner in this race if things stay the way they do. But you got to imagine, he wants to get up there, and he knows he's faster than Cody Cryer. He wants that podium spot, Victor.
Yeah, absolutely. No need to do shots right now to get a podium here. Of course, no matter what happens, he's going to be in a great position in sportsman points. He's one of the few guys in that sportsman class.
Yeah, and kind of interesting to see not a lot of our sportsman drivers making this feature race. And I think that just goes down to is you get higher and higher in the echelon of dirt racing here on iRacing is you have to be a multi-sport athlete. You have to race those trucks, and you have to race these rally cars. And I think that's what you're seeing here. Claude down through Cryer, our top 3 drivers, both have experience in the trucks, in the Rallycross cars. As we see Lambert here trying to make that high side, trying to get the run off of Kraus there, but it looks like Kraus is going to make it stick.
Yeah, Luke Kraus just kind of took the inside and took away that line that Lambert's been running so far, and as he's going to try to make a move here now, maybe onboarding Cryer here just in a second, as I have to update the lead battle here a little bit. Okanagan slowly but surely closing that gap. That last lap was about a 10th up for Okanagan. A lap before that, he was about, I believe, 4/10 up. So Okanagan closing that gap.
Yeah, Okanagan closing the gap. Cryer still with the slimmest of leads by Luke Kraus, but you got to imagine now that's going to be a battle right to the finish. We're going to come with 2 to go. There's a little bit of
Cryer's
contact,
around,
and it looks like
Kraus is around now.
And that's going to put Lambert into our 3rd podium spot.
That's what
going to be
looking for.
Yeah. He's going to say that's easy. I don't have to pass you guys if you guys take each other out. But still behind Lambert is Martel and Cryer. You know they're not going to be giving up easy.
No, absolutely not. And Martel trying to claw in Brandon Lambert here. Again, I think these 3 were the both all in that same semifinal, I do believe, right?
I believe you're correct, and also once we've seen Lambert get into clear space, he drives away. So this is a great position for Lambert to be in, coming to 2 to go this time.
I have to correct myself on that. Martel was in the first semifinal, while it looks like the other 2 were in the 2nd semifinal there. So Martel was behind the 2, a Ford and a Subaru in the semifinal. Again, here in the feature behind the cars, it looks like somehow, some way, I don't know what happened, but Okanagan has lost a lot of time here to Josh Fogg as he was trying to reel him in.
Yeah, and great stat work there by you, Victor, for who is at our LCQs and who wasn't, but that doesn't matter now. We're in the feature race, and we're coming to the white flag this time, and Josh Clogg in that 3 car, he's mentioned so many times before how unlucky he has been. This could be the night that his luck turns around, Victor.
That's exactly right. Coming to the white flag for Josh Clogg at this point, looking like he's about to win this thing, as long as he keeps the wheels pointed in the right direction.
And I know we won't get an interview probably from Josh Clogg. He's the silent assassin, but he's going to wheel his fiercely forward Subaru around the last couple of corners here, diving off the jump into the gravel
Okanagan from 2nd place, up and over.
And he save it, get back on his wheels. It looks like
Here
he's
comes Lambert.
Looks like he's going to be able to hang on to that 2nd spot, but that was almost death for Okanagan there.
Yeah, and here comes Martel with a run to the inside on Lambert. They're going to make contact. And around goes. There goes Lambert and Cryer. They're out of it now, and Ray Kingsbury up to 4th. Martel into a position here, a podium position, as it looks like Josh Clogg has won this thing.
Josh Clogg will cross the finish line and light the candles for his first win of the season in NASA Rallycross 2022. No stranger to victory lane, but it's been a struggle for Josh Clogg so far.
Yeah, been a struggle for him, but not tonight. Josh Clogg, your winner here at Crandon.
Oh, wow, what a race, and that contact off the beginning really shuffled our field and really made it so that a lot of our drivers who don't get a spot up at the front, Lambert comes to mind before he kind of binned it there, was looking for a a podium spot there, and just wasn't able to hang on to it. Your podium is going to be Clog, Oakenhog, and Martell. The rest of the grid: Kingsbury, Ost, Kraus, Crossgrove, Schofield, Kingsbury, Larill, Cryer, and Lambert, as we see Josh Clog taking his victory lap here. It's not necessarily a Polish victory lap because he's not going in the opposite direction. I guess we'll call it a Maryland victory lap, Victor. I think that's appropriate in this situation.
Yeah, we'll call it a Marylander victory lap. Took the long way around. Might as well, right?
Yeah,
So
go
if you're
around
gonna win
and
a race, might as
wave
well
to all of
take
our
it.
virtual fans here.
Whoop! Almost hit the pole. Just missed it. Just stopped in time.
Really, just congratulations to Josh Clog. I know we've gone over it a few times before, but he's had a rough go this season, so you really got to think he is ecstatic to be in the position that he's in.
Oh, absolutely. As we should be able to get a couple of our finishing drivers here on the podium. So see if we can try to get at least second place Magnus Oakenhagen. Maybe, I believe, Francois Martel is also one of the guys who's we could probably get here if we can figure out how to pull them in. As we actually do have Josh Clog in the media pen, so Josh is if we have Josh
once we can figure out how to
listening,
unlock the door to the commentary cube, we can get Josh in here for an interview. His first win of the season, and really he's down there in 7th in the points, but this is going to make a jump here for him, and I think he's going to jump to at least it looks like at least 5th here, because Adam Alderton did not race, and Savion Ragster, we saw he had a little bit of a hard time getting through the our feature race there. So some points for Josh Clog. I think Luke Kraus was able to put a few points on Jakob Rafas as well, and really unfortunate for Robbie the Rail in our championship point standing. Falls all the way to 10th in our feature race, but I think he's still going to be able to hang on to a slim lead over Magnus Oakenhog. I'm doing the math right now, and it's not perfect, but the way that I look, I think he holds a 2-point lead still over, as we now are with Magnus Oakenhog, our 2nd place finisher. And Magnus, I want to just take a quick second to say congratulations, but talk me through that land rush start a little bit. How, exciting is it from a driver's point of view to have all those cars lined up and diving into turn 1 like that?
It's quite like you get like butterflies in your stomach, because like you're all, like compared to any other track, you're all on the same line. So it doesn't really matter if you are on the inside or outside, because it's all about what is going to happen in turn 1. And my strategy was just to get a good launch and try and get like a half a car length or like a car length ahead of anyone else. I could stay like in the front in the turn 1, but I ran a bit wide, and some door banging happened on lap 1, but I'm quite happy in the end where I finished.
You mentioned the door banging on the start there. It looked like to us, at least from the commentary point of view, that there is a lot more beating and banging in this race than a normal rallycross race. Do you think that's correct?
Yeah, like I think it's just the nature of the track, because the track is so wide, and you're used to send the car a bit more in the corner. Like this stuff happens. Like I don't mind it. Like for me, it's just good racing.
And it was good racing, good enough for you to get 2nd place. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to? Magnus helps you get it done.
I would thank my team, Tivar, for giving me this opportunity, and the rest of my teammates who has been quite supportive in terms of setup and everything else. So I'm quite satisfied with this evening.
Well, congratulations on your 2nd place finish, Magnus, and thanks for taking a few minutes to talk to us tonight here on ASN.
Thank you.
Victor, that was quite a performance by Magnus Oakenhog. You think he was wanted to be in that first spot, but he wasn't in the first spot. We're standing by with our 1st place finisher, Josh Clog. And Josh, finally, the number 3 seemed to have cursed you all this season, but you got the monkey off your back. How does it feel?
Pure relief. Definitely, it's been a struggle. I was hoping, fingers crossed, the 199 would be back tonight. Seems it isn't, but, we talked about it. Maybe that got rid of the bad luck. So, anything.
And I know you had a really good performance in your heat race. Were able to qualify automatically for the feature race. Tell me, what was your mindset while you were waiting for that feature race? Did you know you had a chance to win the race tonight?
Oh no, I didn't expect that. You know, the goal for these kind of tracks is just kind of drive it slow, drive it easy. You know, you gotta make room you can at the start, but you know, once in the heat, Luke went a little bit wide, and I had an open track ahead, and then in the feature here, it was a little more hectic, but ended up with open track, and that's, you know, you can take advantage of that on these kind of tracks by just taking it easy, and it worked out in the end for me.
Yeah, and you know, maybe not like over racing where clean air is really an important thing, but once you get out and you're in front, I think it allows you to run your line and really just control the pace of the race. And once you were out in front, I mean, what did you even have a thought of anybody catching you, or did you know as long as you put in the clean laps that the win was yours?
No, I was definitely checking times. Magnus was definitely quick. Gained on me a few laps, and I held him off for a few laps. You know, I've got a big enough gap to start out with that, you know, I kind of had the luxury to be able to watch the gaps. So all in all, it was just about keeping it calm and keeping it steady.
And keeping it calm and steady, you did, and that was good enough for a first place finish tonight. Anybody you want to shout out, help you get the win done, Josh?
Yeah, absolutely. All the Fiercely Forward crew, much appreciated. Luke especially. Unfortunate result for him getting stuck in lots of traffic, but fall back through, and you guys for the broadcast.
And we appreciate you, Josh. Congratulations on your first place finish tonight.
Thank you much.
Victor, what a race here tonight from the Crandon International Raceway. Exciting door-to-door racing, the land rush start. You don't get that anywhere else. These cars were beating and banging. What are your thoughts on the night?
Yeah, wow, it was quite the event as always here. And we can go ahead and take a quick look at the unofficial results of the event here. Of course, as we just said, Josh Clogg, your winner, and Crandon never ever disappoints. I don't think I've never seen it disappoint. It's always been such a good race, always great track, always produces such good racing as we saw tonight.
And we'll take a rundown of the rest of our future results here for you. Josh Clogg, of course, takes home the win. Okenhaug second. Martell rounds out your podium. Ray Kingsbury, with I believe his best finish of the season, comes home at fourth. So you got to imagine he's stoked about that. Christian Ose coming home fifth. Our points leader, Luke Kraus, will take sixth. Cody Crossgrove in seventh. Really good run for him after getting, you know, caught up in some contact and stuff like that. Perseverance was the name of the game tonight for Cody Crossgrove. Schofield comes across at eighth. Matt Kingsbury, after the tussle with his brother, comes home in ninth. I wonder if they'll be talking to each other at the dinner table tonight. Robbie the Rill, unfortunately caught up in that lap one incident, is going to finish 10th. Bodie Cryer, a surprising 11th place finish after that spin late in the race. And Brandon Lambert, looking so good all race long, unfortunately comes home in 12th. One lap down, Victor. So Crandon is in the books. Our first of our two enduro races. I believe, I don't know if it's, let's see here. It looks like, is it next week or is it 2 weeks, Victor, that we go to Wild West?
I believe, if I can pull this up real quick, I just had it up.
It's actually going to be next week. I just looked at it. May 2nd. Same time, same channel, round 8 of our ASN 22 Rallycross season. 2022 Rallycross season is going to come to you from the Wild West Raceway in Sparks, Nevada. That is one heck of a track, Victor. Huge jumps, lots of elevation changes, really tight turns on either end. You thought that Crandon was physical? Just wait till we get to Wild West.
Yeah, absolutely. And just taking a look once again at the results, I believe your winner in the Sportsman Cup should be Cody Crossgrove, if I'm not mistaken. I do not see Martell or Ost on that list, so the first guy I see on that list is going to be Cody Crossgrove. So great result for him. He's going to be moved up pretty far into the battle for the championship in the Sportsman Cup.
Yeah, a good run for Cosgrove. I think Martell took our third spot, so I think he was the one that got it done for Sportsman of the Day.
I'm not exactly sure because I don't see him on the points for Sportsman Cup here, so I'm not exactly sure how that all works out, and maybe I'm a little bit off on that.
Oh,
but
yeah, he might have moved up to the to the championship round. That sometimes happens in the NASA Rallycross series. When you prove that you have the aptitude to run for that championship, they'll usually bump you up, Victor. So that might have been what happened as well.
Absolutely. But with with all that said, man, I'm telling you, can't wait for next week, the second leg of the Enduro. So it's gonna be
so that's gonna be in
one
week. 1 week's time from the virtual Wild West Raceway. For my colleague Victor Vallee in the production truck and also helping me out with the color commentary tonight, I want to give a special shout out to Joshua Mertz for this opportunity here to call the race. And on behalf of ASN, we thank you for tuning into NASA Rallycross and hope you will join us in 1 week's time for the second of our 2 Enduro races, like we said, from the virtual Wild West Raceway. Our broadcast tonight, of course, brought to you by BoltJet. We want to thank Luke Kakert again for coming on the broadcast and talking to us a little bit about BoltJet. And also Fisher Disc Golf. Use code RALLY for 15% off on checkout. Again, thank you for watching our presentation of NASA Rallycross here on the ASN Network, and we bid you a good night from Crandon International Raceway.